Often, you will hear people talk about the stock market, whether it is up, down, sideways, good, bad, or whatever. But what is a stock market? But more importantly, what is a stock? We will discuss what a stock is in this video, as well as a few other relevant terms. In the next video, we'll talk about what the stock market is. A quick disclaimer before I go any farther. I'm not a financial advisor nor licensed broker. The information in this video is purely for entertainment and educational purposes. Discretion is advised, and if you seek professional advice, I recommend going to your licensed broker to learn more about a topic. So, what is a stock? According to Investopedia, a stock, also known as an equity, which I'll go over later, is a security that represents the ownership of a fraction of a corporation. This entitles the owner of the stock to a proportion of the corporation's assets and profits equal to how much stock they own. Units of stock are called shares. But what does this all really mean? So, when a company IPOs or goes public, they essentially offer shares or portions of their company to the public. They divide their company's worth into an amount of portions that they decide. For instance, the company could decide to divide their company into 1,000 shares or 1,000,000 shares. The best way to imagine this is with a cake. Imagine this cake right here is the company Apple. Every slice of this cake equals 1 share. When you want to buy these shares, you usually go to your licensed broker and you ask them, or on most trading platforms, you just buy shares of that company. So essentially, when you're buying stock in a company, all that it means is that you are buying some of these publicly offered shares. Therefore, when you buy a stock, you are actually purchasing a very small portion of that company. Now, you'll hear a lot of people saying this in many different ways. For instance, they'll say, I own stock in this company, or I have equity in this company, or even I am a shareholder in this company. All of these mean almost the same exact thing, because when you own stock in a company, all that you're saying is that you own some shares in that company. When you own equity in a company, and equity basically means how much of something you own, essentially you're saying that you own part of a company as well, which is again synonymous with being a shareholder because you're holding shares of that company. Now, every single day, millions, if not billions, of shares of these companies are exchanged between buyers and sellers every second of every single trading day. So to recap all these terms, let's look over a quick example. Say that a new company called XYZ just IPO'd and their valuation is $10. They decide that for their $10 company, they want to give out 10 public shares. Because the company is worth $10 and there are 10 shares, that means that the company will have a $1 price per share price. So say that you want to invest in company XYZ. So you go to your broker. Here's a little Charles Schwab house that I drew. And you say, I want 5 shares of XYZ. Or again, on your trading platform, you will just click buy and you enter in the 5 share amount. So now looking at your portfolio, you will now see that you own 5 shares of company XYZ. Again, all this means is that you have stock in company XYZ. And because you have stock in this company, more specifically, you have 5 shares, this also means that you have a 50% equity in the company. So again, to recap, when you say that you have stock in a company, all that it means is that you own a portion of that company, even though it's a very small portion. Now, every portion is called a share, and these shares are determined by the company, and some companies have an extremely high amount of shares, and some companies have very low amount of shares. And again, equity is essentially just how much of that company that you own, or how many shares of the company that you own.